All right, we are here for the finals of MH3 League. We got a familiar face here, Jordan M or JM Tron, going for his fifth league win, which is absolutely ridiculous. It has not been done yet. Up against Michael B, Monkey Mage, who is more or less a fresh face. He's only played in two leagues and he's top eighted both of them. So he is looking to get a win here. And we saw his deck before, his Jund deck with some colorless cards. And we saw Jordan had the Simic Eldrazi deck, and he is running that Echoes of Eternity. So of note, Joaquin, who also had an Echoes of Eternity, was not running it, but Jordan is. What's Michael got in hand here?
Yeah, so he's played out his two lands in the Solar Transformer. He's got two more lands. This Writhing Chrysalis that's coming down this turn.
Ooh.
Um, and for non-lands, he's working with a Nightshade Dryad, a Springheart Nantuko, and a Ral and the Implicit Maze.
All right, well, drawn here is a Storm Drake that can take the Writhing Chrysalis, and then Jordan has his own Writhing Chrysalis to play next turn. So when we looked at Jordan's pool, we said, okay, he's Cynic base. How many of the colorless cards is he going to play? Because he had Kozilek's Command, Echoes of Eternity, and how many of his red cards, because he had Chrysalis and Titan's Vanguard, is he going to play? And I think the answer is he's playing all of them.
Well, it seems to be working so far. He's gotten to the finals with it.
Yeah.
And if we see a second Writhing Chrysalis coming down next turn. Oh, wow. So we're going to actually see this Nantuko get bestowed on Stormdrake, I think.
Huh.
And then he
He
can
can steal
actually
everything.
Writhing Crystal back.
Okay, I've not seen this. Okay.
Wow. Wait, this is
So he
interesting.
so he says that's what you get for taking my thing,
Oh
giving me
no.
the
Now
Storm
Jordan
Drake. Now I take
I don't
everything.
even, I don't even think Jordan will want to play his own Chrysalis.
I mean, he can't play anything until that Spring Heart's gone, and he doesn't have a way to kill it. So
Does he
Jordan
not have
is
an answer
he is
for that
very stuck
Stormdrake?
here. He's got the Echoes of Eternity, Warp Tusker, and his own Chrysalis and three lands. So he needs to.
Wow.
He can't really play much of anything until this thing's gone. So he is kind of he's like trapped here.
This might be the because I've seen Stormdrake be bad, right? I've seen Stormdrake
Oh yeah.
take bad cards and like you just lose to the flyer. I have not seen Stormdrake backfire like this before. This is wow. Out of all the games of Modern Horizons 3, I've never seen something like that.
Yeah, you give me the Storm Drake, I'm going to use it against you. And this is why I don't like the card. Add it to the list. I did not even know this was one of the reasons why I disliked it, but
It definitely speaks to the depth of Modern Horizons that this is not something probably anyone watching has ever considered that this is something that can happen when you play Volatile
yeah.
Stormdrake.
As a joke, I have said in the past that to me, Volatile Storm Drake just reads one in a blue, lose the game. And it's been closer to that than it has been, a card that I want to play. I mean, it's obviously not a card that just loses the game on the spot, but it opens you up to things like this. I mean, obviously, this is a very narrow thing that could
I
happen,
mean,
but it's a thing that is
this
happening, and it's
and
stopped
we're going to
Jordan from being
see.
able to play anything. He did draw a horrific assault, which if he
Well,
tapped
he's not going to
differently,
have.
he would have been
Yeah,
able to deploy.
but he is unfortunately not even going to have any creatures left after this. Ral the Implicit Maze wiping his entire board. Stormdrake coming down unhindered. Yeah, this is brutal.
So he can play Chrysalis, sack a token, and horrific assault, but he's still under siege here.
Yeah, it's I'm assuming he's got a forest coming down to
Yeah.
cast his sort of.
Look, I'm proud to say I've closed the format out without ever playing Volatile Storm Drake. So
Okay, so it's not unwinnable. It looks pretty bad there, but Jordan
I mean, Jordan had a
answering to
great looking
big one.
hand, but that Storm Drake. I mean, he said, "No, I'm going to grab the Chrysalis." He said, "No, I'm going to grab it back, and I'm going to
Yep.
I'm going to threaten to keep doing that for as long as he could play creatures." So Jordan was
Yeah.
locked out of playing creatures.
So it looks like he's drawn a Void Pouncer return, which I assume we're gonna see come in kicked.
Yeah, so keeping the
And
pressure on here.
I think if I'm Michael, excuse me, I think if I'm Michael,
Just attack.
I'm not gonna have a coughing fit if I'm Michael, but he's doing exactly what I would have thought, which is just swing out. You've got this Wither and Bloom threatening to
Yeah,
pick off the right.
what can he even do, Jordan? I mean, it's open information. He can't really take. I mean, he can take 11, but that Wither
It's
and
a
Bloom
rough
is
one.
castable until next turn, so it's not like it goes away.
Exactly. Your problems don't get any better next turn, really,
I
unless
I
you can make
mean,
more stuff.
I haven't memorized Jordan's list, but I don't know what all he can draw here to get him out of this. And it all started with that Storm Drake gone wrong.
Yeah, wow, that's as a famous person once said, this might be one of the more memorable moments in this league. Uh,
Well, I mean, this will be memorable. It's being recorded. We'll be able to go back and look at that one and say that was an unexpected way for a game to turn. And Jordan
oh
couldn't
yeah,
do anything. Yeah, I mean, Storm Drake one in a blue, lose the game. I mean, kind of.
definitely adding to your bias against
Yeah,
Stormtrek
I
here.
mean, it's it's hyperbole, but it's played closer to that than any other thing that people claim it does. For me
Sure, sure.
personally. So Jordan has two. It looks like he looks like he's sliding in a consign to memory immediately, and now thinking about anything else he wants to take in or out. But that was an immediate include.
So Michael, he had some interesting cards in his main board. So he notably was main decking two Cranial Rams. It looks like he's choosing to side out of black a little bit. He's bringing in some Infernal Captors that are in his board. Just a couple more green and red cards to kind of make his mana a little more consistent, it looks like.
Oh, because in the
Uh,
other round, in the last round, he had the two captors in the main deck and not the Rams. But
okay.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so his Cranial Rams were in main deck, and it looks like he's just swapped them out for the Captors now.
And he doesn't have many other artifacts, so it's not really at
Yeah,
its
it's an
best.
interesting choice to main deck. It's possible he was running a bit short on playables and didn't want to commit too heavily into black, but even then, that's a black 2-drop you're playing.
Yeah, I mean it's going to top out at like probably 3 power in his deck.
Yeah, not really something you're super excited about playing.
All right, so a very surprising turn of events in that game. It's
Yeah,
funny. I mean, it is an interaction between two rares, but something I never thought would come up. But use that Drake against him. You know, you want to give me a Drake? I will. I will use it against you, friend. Uh, so what's Michael working with this game?
so he's kept a bit of a slow hand here. He's got
Hmm.
two landscapes, a mountain, a shifting woodland, and just drawn another mountain. And then he's got Realm the Implicit Maze, Horrific Assault, and a Springheart Nancy.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say a fast hand for Jordan either. He does have the Rumble on turn two. Looking at a Titan's Vanguard here looks very appealing. In hand, he has Mountain, Twisted Riddle Keeper, the Void Craw, Turtle, the Evolution Witness, and Galvanic Discharge. So next turn, he could play the Void Craw and start ramping up to his bigger things.
Okay.
I mean, Spring Art Nantuko on two is, that's. I mean, you never want to see a Spring Art Nantuko, but on turn two, not bestowed, is like you kind of like feel okay about it.
Yeah. So Michael does have a couple of landscapes in hand to kind of back this thing up
Yeah,
about a couple more insects, but I don't know if Jordan's really going to let this stick around any longer than he has
yeah.
to.
So normally you just slam the Void Craw on turn three. The Nantuko is giving him pause whether he wants to use his discharge or not. But
You can do both. It
yeah, but I think he wants the token.
makes sense with a Titan's
The
Vanguard and will become a real threat. Yeah.
Yeah, next turn he can Titan's Vanguard. All right, so this Spring Out Nantuko is gonna put a bunch of ground creatures into play here, which is gonna make things a little difficult for Jordan here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have um, play this turn, and he doesn't have a good answer for a Titan's Vanguard either.
And he can see it coming next turn. It's it's right there.
Yeah. So
So
he's hovering Heroicus all he's saying he might just get rid of the spawn. Just I don't know if I love that, but it does stop it from becoming a threat with the Vanguard.
yeah, he still gets to cast Vanguard though, so I don't know if that's the best use of the card. I really don't like using my removal spells on spawns. It's it doesn't really progress anything here. It just maybe slows Jordan down like a small touch. But
Yeah,
Horrific
it's not like
Assault is
that.
a card that you can really leverage later on to
The
kill
other thing
something
too
important.
is with the Writhing Chrysalis coming down next turn, you have at least a decently sized creature. And not only that, but you can gain life off of the Heroic Assault, which
Yeah,
goes from range close.
and the draw of the Pinnacle Monk here, giving him an untapped red source, means he can play his Vanguard and get this Spring Heart off the board before it can make more tokens.
Okay, that's pretty huge. So he's got a Trickster's Lock to kind of stop this Vanguard from doing anything. You're still facing out a bit of damage. That's a nice stem to the aggression.
Yeah. Uh, he's checking his graveyard here because he has the Evolution Witness. He has Riddle Keeper, which he can cast for its emerge cost. But I don't think he's going to sack something. So one more mana, which he does have in hand, he gets to just hard cast it for 8. I think he's just going to play Evolution Witness here. Oh,
Makes sense.
I think he's thinking I sack the Vanguard, get it back with Witness.
Yeah, and that I mean that will give your opponent
Andy
there's
can do it all. He actually can do it all. He has enough
does he
mana.
have the he'll be able to play this and
Yeah,
rebuy the Vanguard now.
and that's why he's won so many leagues because he sees that. I'm sitting here thinking I don't want to sack anything to the Riddle Keeper. I could just hard cast it next turn. But he says, no,
Oh,
I can cast it. I can get back my Vanguard, and he's drawn Chrysalis here. So this is gonna be a nasty turn.
he's he stunned Michael's lands too, so
Yep.
without that green source, Michael couldn't play his own Chrysalis.
And now Vanguard's coming down, and this is gonna be probably the
This
end of
is
the game
very
unless there's a Toxic Deluge coming.
there's one
Toxic.
in the deck.
I mean, he's just clicking here, just attack, attack. Next turn, more or less death.
Yeah, barring a Toxic Deluge here, I think this game's about wraps.
Yeah, I mean, we see the power of the Eldrazi's. I mean, look, Writhing Chrysalis and Titan's Vanguard combining to win a game. Anybody who's played MH3 has seen that way too many times, whether they did it or their opponent did it to them. It's you know, if this is one of the last games that we see of the format, this is what the format will be remembered by. I think by and
It'll be a
large.
fitting end.
I mean, it did end up being a
Michael,
good format with a lot of diverse decks, but I mean, this still hung heavy over everything. When your
yeah.
opponent had a good version of this deck, no matter what you were doing, it was going to be really, really hard to win. And I
Michael's
mean, yep,
sitting over here and with 2 Ral and the Implicit Maze is unfortunately not the board wipe he needs.
yeah. That's where that card is like not a favorite of mine. There's too many games where it doesn't do what I needed to do. And for 5 mana, your 5 drop needs to always be reliable. I think
Yeah.
that's
Usually there's situations where I don't mind casting it and not killing stuff, but when you're facing this much beatdown, you just don't have a time to say, yeah, let me just cast this 5 drop. That's not really.
yeah, it's tough to justify that. And I mean, I suppose Michael can make it through another turn, but I think even a Toxic Deluge here will not be enough.
Yeah.
He'll lose too
He
much
says,
life.
let's move on. Yep.
He
Well,
says,
they're game 3.
let's move on here. So Jordan showing a bit more of what his deck is capable of after the faux pas with with the Storm Drake biting him in the first game.
Interesting. Yeah. I see a Cursed Wombat in Michael's sideboard. That would probably be pretty good in his deck, but he's
Huh.
opting not to play.
He doesn't have. Does he have a lot of counter stuff? Not too much.
So, well, he's got two Chrysalis. He has
Oh
let's see what
yeah, I
else
never
he's.
thought to combine those because I don't really play that many three color decks, but
Well,
those are a very good combination actually.
it's good with Emperor of Bones. It's good with the
Oh
Wither
yeah,
and Blooms.
absolutely.
There's a decent amount of stuff, and honestly, the card is fine by itself. That it can just adapt and be a 5/6. Interesting. He's choosing not to play it, but he's choosing other. Like he's running black 2 drops, so that's not stopping him.
Yeah,
But he's chosen this
yeah.
one.
Green black didn't end up being an amazing deck, but when my opponent had a good green black deck and played that early, it was you basically have to kill it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun when the deck came together.
Yeah, it just didn't come together often enough, and a lot of what other people were doing just went over the top of it.
Yeah, and you really needed the uncommons to make it tick.
All right, so we get a game three here. We get to decide our league winner, whether Michael will win his first league or Jordan will win his fifth league. Remains to be seen. Pretty poor looking hand here for Jordan, if we're being honest. I don't know if I know he'll keep a riskier hand, but he's got three uncastables. He did keep, so he's got the Storm Drake consigned to memory. He's got a mountain and an island, and he's got three green cards. Now four green cards.
Uh, Michael, as you just saw, he's got his Devourer.
Very nice.
Um, he is fetching a swamp real quick with this land. He's got 2 more lands in hand, and then as far as other non-lands go, he's got an Eldrazi Repurposer, one of his Ral, the Implicit Maze, and notably a Toxic Deluge, which we've seen can be pretty strong in this matchup.
Yeah, Storm Drake on turn two, which is where you need it to be a lot of the time. But another green card drawn for Jordan here, so he needs a forest, or this game is gonna get out of control in a bad way. And he has drawn a layaway forest here for next turn. But this is
Okay.
a big turn to not do anything. He does have the consign to memory, so at the very least, he may be able to counter an Eldrazi here.
I think we're going to see this Ral Saga just be played out to kill the Stormdrake. Yep.
And that is not what you want to see if you're Jordan. Jordan's like hoping for like a Chrysalis, right? He's like, show me the Chrysalis, let me counter it cleanly.
Yeah. Now this is a really great start here for Michael because he's got Art Advantage going. He's still holding his Toxic Deluge. Um,
Yeah, Echoes of
this
Eternity
Devourer,
off the top. That's not what you're looking for.
wow, he's also drawn 2 landscapes, which he's holding this Devourer. Okay, wow, brutal cards coming off the top here.
And now you can just kill this. Jordan can't play as much of anything. I mean, he could play as Void Craw. If he draws a land, he could play Path of Annihilation, but, needless to say, he's behind.
Nice. Okay, so looks like Jordan might be saving this consigned memory for a potential Devourer of Destiny. This is
Yeah.
definitely reasonable.
Okay, so Rumble, find a land.
Can he cast anything
Okay.
else this turn?
No. It's all green cards. He has Warp Tusker and Echoes of Eternity and three green cards. So
Wow.
the risky keep biting him a bit here. Just only an island and a mountain and three green cards is especially when you're on the I don't know. It's just the risky hands are they pay off sometimes, but other times not so
Yeah,
much. So he
I
can
mean,
now play the Void Craw, but he's at nine, facing down a bunch of beaters here.
I think we might see um, Michael Toxic Deluge for one, just to get rid of some spawn.
Not not impossible here. I mean, that would more
Yeah,
or less end the game. Yeah, he's just going to kill everything, right?
this is game. Yeah, because he kills this, he deluges for one, and he has lethal.
All right. So Michael B, Monkey Mage, has won
Impressive.
MH3 League, our biggest league ever. Congratulations to Michael B, new champ in our largest league. So very well done, very impressive deck, and very impressive win here in the finals against one of our better players. And once again, congratulations, and we'll see everybody for the next update.